Are you there?
I'm here. Are you here?
I'm here.
Good. Well, it's episode 0023 of the Pod James Pod podcast. I'm sort of like a little bit flustered. I apologize if that comes across. I've misplaced some things. I'm having to.
I forgive you.
Good. Thanks. That's nice of you.
You're welcome.
That's nice of you.
You're right.
How nice of you to me. I deserve it. I, of course, deserve that you are nice to me, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
Why do you deserve?
Because I am the mastermind.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. I thought... Are you going to put our listeners through this?
Look, here's the stuff. I got some stuff I got to say. We've had some discussions.
Wait, that's why... It's a podcast. What are we going to do?
You're right. We've had people concerned, I'm sure. I don't know
Janice?
if Janice has written in asking what's going on. But there is...
Yeah, she did. She did.
Okay.
She wrote in.
All right, what did she say?
Really?
Really?
That's what she wrote. With the question mark. Really?
She's excited. She's really? Like, really?
No, it's like, really? Like that. Like some snark to it.
Okay. Where is Janice from? Like, is she from Nebraska? Is she from, like...
Well, I don't know if I should give this information out.
Do you know Janice?
Well, yeah, I see there's a return address.
Do you know her? Like, is she your sister?
She's purely a fan.
Okay.
She's from Ohio.
She's from Ohio, okay.
Yeah.
How did she hear about us? Like, why did she start listening to us?
I assume on the internet.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we're experts. I mean, we have Bond fans. Listen, she writes me these in-depth letters, such as this last one, really. Sorry, I read that wrong. Really? It should be read like that.
Yeah.
But she has not gone into her history. You know, she doesn't want to geek out too much when she writes to me. She doesn't want to like make me like oh, this lady's a freak and a super fan, and I don't want to talk to her. No, she's way more cool than that. Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, I think it's worth noting that I have come to a decision about someone who used to work for the Pod James Pod podcast organization.
Here we go. Come on.
And I feel like it needs some setup. I want to just talk about my mastermind group. It's a great group.
Oh. Can we just skip? Like, cut to the chase.
No, I don't want to skip. I really want you to experience the mastermind group. And I sampled a little recording, just the beginning of the call, because I didn't want to get into the meat of the call. Just the beginning, just where we sort of intro ourselves to one another. I have a clip from the call, and I'd like to play it now on the show, and I'd like for you to listen to it, and then we'll come back and I'll talk a little bit more about the meeting, okay?
If I have to.
All right. Hello? Can anyone hear me?
Hey, Carlin.
Hey, Steve. Glad you could make it this time.
Yeah, sorry about that last time. Got caught up in a few behind-the-scenes problems I had to take.
Hey, Kim.
Hey, guys.
Looks like we're still trying to connect with a few more people, and then we'll get started. Looks like Mark is on. Mark, you there?
Basically.
Okay, I think we're just waiting on Mary and our new person.
Oh, that's right. We've got the new person joining us.
Oh, and there she is now. Hello, Faye.
Hi. Welcome.
Hey, that's great. I'm so glad you could be here. Welcome to the group.
Here.
Okay, well, I think we're not going to wait any longer for Mary. We've got a lot to cover, so it's just best to get going. Since Faye is here, let's go around and introduce ourselves to her. So, say your name, what podcast you're from, and your favorite type of pie. We'll just go alphabetically. So, I guess I'll start. I'm Carlin Trammell from the Pod James Pod podcast, and my favorite type of pie is peach. Okay, Faye, I guess you're next.
Sorry to interrupt, but what about me, sir?
Oh, sorry, Faulty. I had you down by your real name. So yeah, you can go ahead if you want.
I'm Faulty Laporte. I'm the host of the Not My Faulty podcast. It's a tech support show where people can call in with issues and problems that they have
Faulty,
with their...
we don't need to get into the details this week. So yeah, that's good. Faye?
Do you still want to know what my favorite pie is?
Okay, yes, sorry. Please tell us.
Strawberry rhubarb.
Of course it is. Okay, Faye.
Thanks, everyone. I'm Faye, and I'm the host of the Little Black Rock podcast. It's actually a marketing tool we use for our great ad agency. My favorite pie is Bastilla, which is a Moroccan chicken and almond pie.
Ooh, sounds good. Okay, Kim?
Hi, I'm Kim with the Jam with Kim podcast, which is a show about making jams and music. Get it? I was going to say my favorite pie is lemon meringue, but after hearing about that Bastilla, it reminded me of epakmak, which is a Russian meat pie.
Mark, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. This is Mark from the Home Sweet Home Brewing podcast. On this show, we basically talk about home brewing, but we have an assortment of other topics.
Mark, I'm just going to remind you, we need to move along.
I'm sorry, I can get carried away at times. My favorite pie is German chocolate.
Great, sounds good. And Steve.
Hey, this is Steve from the Manager's Minute podcast. You know, I don't like pie. I'm a cake guy myself. My favorite cake is chocolate cake.
Okay, great. All right, thanks everyone, and welcome again, Faye. This is a great group. I only recently joined the group myself, and it's been a wonderful last few months. When I joined, the first thing that they asked me was, what do I want to get out of this group? And of course, my answer was, I want to win a potty. So, Faye, I want to ask you the same question. What do you want to get out of this group?
2 words: global domination. While we're relatively new to this podcast game, but our show is something that can change lives, and we want to take over the world with our show. Oh, brilliant. Best answer yet.
So what kind of marketing do you do?
All kinds. Do you want help with marketing your show?
Well, maybe. We'll see. Okay, the topic I wanted to start with and bring up this month off the bat is it's about my assistant.
Wow. Well, first of all, I'm sorry, listeners, that you listen to that. What a bunch of dimwits.
What?
What a bunch. Really, you're associating yourself with those people.
Yeah, those are some of the most expert podcasters out there.
I don't understand how they're masterminds and how you can't like you. I'm not enough for you. Am I not enough?
Well,
Is me
I mean,
Alabama dog isn't enough?
sometimes you just gotta go out. You gotta see what other people think. You know, what are their points? What is their point of view?
I get to know what other people think by fan mail, by people like Janice who send me lengthy letters to me, so I know what other people are thinking. World domination, really? If you want to know anybody who's even close to world domination, it would be Alabama Dog. I don't know. It seems like a group of willy-nillys.
Look, I don't really like how you're talking. I'll have you know, I had a conversation with Faye after the call, and I've talked to her about what she can maybe do for our show. Because I was sort of bouncing some ideas off of her.
You didn't. Please tell me you didn't.
I'm telling you ideas, just different ideas. You know, she was talking to me about, what's our, what's our icon? our icon? What's our like not like a
Icon?
mascot, but like what's the show's like persona? You know, if we could personify the show into like one being, what would that be? You know, who is
James Bond.
Who is James Pod? Oh, see, that's what she asked me. She said, "Who is James Pod?" And I was like, "That's brilliant. Who is James Pod?" You know, so she was like pitching this whole idea of like, what if we did TV commercials about James Pod?
What a bunch of pseudo-intellectual bullcrap. Commercials about James Pod.
Right.
We're not wasting any money on this.
Look,
We're talking.
no.
She's talking about national spots.
Look,
right?
I don't know how you are in any position to tell me what we're going to spend money on. Your finances, you know, being what they are, I don't think you have a place to really say what we spend money on.
Listen,
That's
trust
been
me,
established.
I will not be leaving you any more voicemails after seeing your business leadership that you've been displaying. Okay, this mastermind group has got to go. And I mean, I really hope it doesn't come to the point where you have to choose between me or them.
Look, I'll have you know they've given me some great advice. This is where we were going before the recording. I want to let you know that they were on the same page as you about QK. And I want to make an announcement. QK is no longer with the James Pod Podcast Corporation. It was a mutual decision. You know, we didn't let her go because we don't do that. That's not how we operate.
Right. We've never let anybody go.
We don't. Yeah, no, we don't. But we sat down with her. We had a discussion, and we came to the mutual understanding that she is no longer going to be a part of the company. So in a sense,
is this why she's been angry, tweeting me for the past, I don't know, week or so?
I don't know. I pretty much don't read her tweets. I know if I gotta go my separate ways. She's gotta go her way. I gotta go mine.
Well, you told me last episode that you can't function without QK.
I know. I'm gonna have to find somebody to replace her. I'm gonna.
So how are you functioning right now?
Well, I mean, I might be.
Is it Faye? Is Faye your new assistant?
She's not my assistant, but I might have put some things off onto her company to help me just in the meantime, not like a full retainer, just, you know, like, hey, can you just help me out in the meantime? Just
wait, so we're paying Faye money to help.
I mean, not like a full
markets.
retainer. We're not doing like a full thing, a full-blown thing. We're not signing a
like,
contract or anything.
Is she like a life coach or like a mentor?
Oh, she has those services that I could certainly engage in. Yeah, if I wanted to.
It sounds like she's just trying to copy Alabama Dog's business model with Bama Creative Group.
Hey, it's a good model.
This sounds like a blatant ripoff, and I can't believe that you're condoning this, especially since Bama Dog is one of our co-hosts.
I know, but where is he? I can't get a hold of him.
He's in Alabama.
I know that, but I mean, he's got his seminars and his speaking engagements.
What more do you know?
Look, he, in a sense, he drove me to this. He drove me to the mastermind group.
He drove you to this. First of all, he's a dog. He can't drive.
Right.
Second of all, he is always available. If you want to see him, he's in Alabama. You can tweet him. I can talk to Scott. Scott attends his Bama Creative Group sessions.
I know, but
once a month.
He's hard to get a hold of. He's got the whole campaign to try and become the next James Bond. You know, not to replace Daniel Craig, but to just be the next in line should Daniel Craig decide to retire. It's just that he's got a lot on his plate. I feel bad bothering him.
Well, of course he has a lot on his plate. He's a dog. He's hungry. He's got bacon strips to his ears.
I know.
And you know how dogs get when you bother them when they're eating.
I know how they get.
He has a lot on his plate, and but he is able to spin those plates and be a plate spinner. If you will.
Yeah.
Whereas it seems like you are not a very good or a very competent plate spinner. Where's Faye located?
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope this is all coming out of your salary, because I'm not helping pay for this Faye, and I really hope you don't listen to this Faye character, unless you run these ideas past me. So I'm Aaron Nix. You're Carlin Trammell. This is Pod James Pop Podcast. This month we're talking about Die Another Day,
Yep, that's what we're doing.
where we do nothing but talk about James Bond
This
movies.
podcast is all about James Bond, and I think we talked about this before. It's all we do is drill
Bond,
down, good or
Bond,
bad,
or Bond.
good or bad. That's all we talk about, James Bond. So when we get to a movie like Die Another Day, and I don't think we're
Our discussions are always good.
Oh yeah. Right. I mean, good or bad movie.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I don't think we're not hiding. We're not running from the bad. You know, we're not saying, "Oh,
Yeah.
Moonraker." We're not
It's
going to
not-
talk about that. No, we're going to.
It's not like there's a giant laser shot from outer space behind us. We're running from it.
No, we're the laser. We talked about this.
We're
last
the
episode.
laser.
We are the laser, and we're having to shoot it all, and that includes the movies that aren't as well liked, and that includes Die Another Day. This is Pierce Brosnan's fourth and final film. This came out in 2002, and this was the 20th James Bond film.
And this is right before Daniel. Well, not right before. This is, like you said, Pierce Brosnan's last film. So the next film would be Casino Royale, the 2006 version, where it sort of rebooted the franchise. So really, this is the last film of the James Bond series before the reboot.
You're right. Well, with a movie like this, where I really don't like it, and the last time I'm just going to say right off the bat, I don't like this movie.
So what tier do you put this in, Carlin?
Well, we'll get to that. We're not on that segment. Sometimes I have to go into it and I have to try and find things to like about it. And one of the most interesting things about it, especially in light of the fact that we've been doing this podcast and we've covered quite a bit, quite a few of the films. We have not yet covered all of the films, but at this point we've covered most of them.
Pretty close.
And I would say in the time we've done this podcast, we've become even greater Bond experts. One of the most interesting things about this movie was seeing all the little Easter eggs, seeing all the little things that were peppered in. That I think.
Wait, Sheriff peppered in?
Nobody cuts and runs on Sheriff J.W. Pepper.
Oh, Sheriff peppered in. See, that's even brilliant. That's how meta it is.
That's
they were
how
all Sheriff peppered in.
you pepper in a joke about peppering in.
That's how much of an expert I am. Here's the one
I made the joke.
Yeah, here's one I want to mention. When Bond is in the hotel room in is it Hong Kong or
Yes.
whatever? Who else is in the room?
cameraman?
There's a cameraman.
From my dodgeball.
You're a cameraman from your dodgeball, formerly of your dodgeball team, in the movie. I was like, oh,
From-
that's brilliant. That's something I hadn't even considered. From Rush with Love, cameraman in this movie. It's stuff like that. It's like not even big things. Like there is a little bit in the Q sequence where you're seeing like the jetpack and all that, but it's like little nods. Like at some point, Pierce Brosnan walks into a room. There's a bowl of grapes. He eats a grape. That happened in Thunderball.
Yeah.
And it's like that's the stuff that actually I found interesting. The little subtle nods.
Yeah, there were a lot of Easter eggs in this film that I liked, like you mentioned, and they're just scattered throughout. And I think it's I don't know. It's to the point where this film being the, what would you say? What number is this? The 20th?
20th. Yeah. See, you were asking
This-
me because I'm actually
This film,
the winner of 007 seen it, so I'm the 007 seen it.
this film being the 20th in the series, it's almost to the point where, like a lot of franchises, after so many films, that it becomes like everything's tongue in cheek. Everything's a parody of itself to some extent, and it's like here we go again. And when you have this catalog of films that spans decades, it's like you just want to please the fans, and they're just trying to. I don't know. It's really interesting looking at it now, and I'm sure at the time, if I was an expert when I first saw this film, like I am now, I might have been annoyed by that.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you did like about this movie before we get on to the things that we maybe don't like?
I'll tell you what I liked about this movie. I thought this was a solid movie for like the first quarter of it. I think the whole intro in North Korea, the whole hovercraft scene that they stole from James Bond Jr. I'm catching you, Die Another Day. You stole that from the Eiffel missile from James Bond Jr. minus the helicopter. I think until even when Jinx is introduced and she's horrible, Halle Berry's horrible, it's tolerable. It's tolerable. The whole medical scene, it's fine. I think once we get to the point of the invisible car,
Yeah, that's the line, isn't it?
that is the line that it crosses, where it becomes absolutely, like, excuse me, you might bleep this out, but batshit crazy. It just goes.
Just remember the Council of Mothers podcasts. They
The council. That's why I bleeped it out.
okay.
So I bleeped it out. I mean, once we're introduced to the invisible car, and then immediately we're introduced to the ice castle, it's just like it becomes a completely different film.
Oh yeah.
Whereas before, everything was, there were some kooky parts, but it's James Bond movies. There's always kooky parts. But I love the intro of James Bond being captured and growing this long facial hair and being there for 14 months and escaping. And I loved that story. And even the explanation from M of like why we got you out. I'm like, okay, this is interesting plot devices that they're setting up here. I wonder how they're gonna go along with this. But yeah, there's that line that it crosses.
I'm mixed. I'm of mixed emotions on the opening scene. I like the idea of it, but then at the same time, I think in 19 previous movies, this man has never been captured, and he's been in worse scrapes than what he's in now, and he doesn't get captured, or he gets captured and he gets out of it in the span of a couple of hours, and here he is, locked up for 14 months. He doesn't get out of it even. It takes the government to get him out of it. He's not able to break free on his own. I could have even probably accepted 14 months if he himself had broken out. And I had a real problem with that. And I know, but it's not real. This was so much more of a real story. I honestly, you know what? That's not why I'm watching these movies. I'm watching James Bond. And James Bond wouldn't be captured in a camp, in a war camp or whatever, for 14 months. That's not the James Bond that I've been watching. That's not the one I know.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. There's no way James Bond would be captured. Well, I guess especially a Die Another Day heightened version of James Bond. There's no way he would be captured for that long. And I think it was part of the whole appeal of, we're going to write about North Koreans. They're relevant right now. I mean, they're the international threat at this point. And well, I mean, there of course are other threats going on in 2002, but they were just one of many. And let's make this how can we villainize these people even more? So let's show them how they will torture people. Waterboard and all this stuff. I don't know. I agree with you. It's a little bit Like, why is James Bond being captured for 14 months? And then he doesn't even break out. He just gets set across the bridge. He doesn't even like try to sucker punch Zhao across the bridge.
Right,
Like,
right.
if you see him, like throw him off the bridge. I don't know anything.
Yeah,
Um,
License to Kill, man.
License to Kill. Even
Well, and it wasn't helped by the horrible theme song to this
Oh.
film. This is the worst theme song ever.
it's definitely the worst theme song ever, and worse than All Time High.
Oh, by far.
Yeah. One last thought on the beginning, the intro, the pre-credit scene, is that not only, I mean, they just stole this from James Bond Jr. Is that the whole Saved by the Bell reference? We talked about
you're right.
a couple months ago how James Bond Jr. is just the cast of Saved by the Bell.
Right, and he makes
But
that crack.
James
He
Bond-
makes
He makes that crack. He was Saved by the Bell. It's in direct reference to James Bond Jr. Obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Well, I mean, that's what this movie was. The 20th movie. They're putting in Easter egg. They're Sheriff Peppering in Easter eggs, and of course that's the Easter egg for James Bond Jr.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about the lead up to the Invisible Car. So we're introduced to Halle Berry, who may be the worst Bond girl ever, one of the worst Bond girls ever.
One of the worst for sure. To say she is the worst, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
tough.
know. It is tough. And
mean-
neither of them. And I like Rosamund Pike and other things I've seen her in, but in this, she's not that great. This is probably the first time I'd seen her, and when I saw that she was in other movies, I avoided them. I was wrong to avoid them because she's actually really good, but in this, she's not, and I don't blame her. It just
kills the actor.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Halle Berry is Oscar-winning actress, and she's been in duds pretty much ever since.
Right.
But it's like she's capable of good stuff. And it's just I don't know what the writers were doing with the Jinx character, but it was like it was cringeworthy listening to it now. Like when I first saw this film, I saw it in the theaters, and I think I saw it with my entire one side of my family, like extended family. We all, if you listen to episode 001, you know that I learned about James Bond from my papa, through my father, through me. So my extended family, we went and saw Die Another Day, and everybody loved it. Everybody was loving it. And of course, I liked it at the time. Like, oh, it's James Bond, his action and whatever is really cool. But looking back at it now, of course, I've seen it since then. But watching it this week, it's just so bad. I don't think she says a line that doesn't have some sexual innuendo to it.
No, and she really can't deliver the lines, the clever lines.
No.
And I guess I've just, I know she's an Oscar-winning actress, but I've just not ever seen her anything that I really think. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sure there's a lot of Halle Berry fans that are going to be so mad at it. I don't know if Janice is a Halle Berry fan or not.
She probably is.
I don't know. It's just, let's just say this was not a great script, and that's probably why she didn't do good. We'll just say that.
Not only that, but some of her lines that she delivers, like they're extreme close-ups, or not extreme, but they're tight close-ups, and they're horrible green screened.
Yeah, there's a lot of green
screen
screen in this.
There's some of the worst green screen. I know it's 2002, but good lord, if movies in the early 90s can get it right, it's just, I don't know if they just did pickups. Like, you know what we need in this scene? We just need another punchline here to this joke. We just need Jinx to say something really inappropriate. Okay. And then they just add it. I don't know, but it's really bad.
Do you remember back around the time this movie came out, and even a little bit after, I think before and after, I think they talked about it for quite some time. There was all these rumors that Halle Berry would get her own spin-off. There would be a Jinx spin-off movie.
Oh gosh, I don't remember that at all.
They had talked about it, I think, with the Michelle Yeoh character in Tomorrow Never Dies, and I feel like there was another. I feel like there was another example of somebody who was rumored to get their own spin-off movie, but of course, Halle Berry Halle Berry got a spin-off in another franchise of sorts. She
Yeah.
was Catwoman
Catwoman.
in the Catwoman movie, which was not really this direct sequel to any of the Batman movies. Certainly not in connection to Christopher Nolan movies at all.
Oh, of course not.
But she just, that was another case of a bad script. But at the same time, like, she did that movie no favors either. So I can't even imagine what a Jinx movie would have been like.
No, I don't even want to think about that.
Sorry, I brought it up.
You should be. I forgive you.
You're kind of in a forgiving mood of late.
It's your lucky month.
All right, so the invisible car happens, and the movie changes. That really, at this point, I'm still not a fan of this movie.
Yeah,
I have problems.
Even
There's just so much to say. It's such a horrible movie. Go ahead, you go.
even this sword fight, which happens before the invisible car is introduced, even the sword fight, as weird as it is, that at this point we don't know it's the North Korean guy who got his DNA changed or whatever, but the sword fight just comes out of nowhere, where all of a sudden these two hate each other and they're trying to murder each other, and it's just weird. Okay, it's just weird. And Madonna's there, and she just makes it way more awkward. But even that's acceptable in like a James Bond movie. I'm like, okay, this isn't too weird for a James Bond movie, for a fight that just happened.
Weird. Not too weird. Not too bad.
It's not too bad. And let's talk about the car.
Let's back up. One more thing I want to bring
All right.
up. All the stuff of the first half of the movie. There is a lot of stuff I don't like. But the one thing I love is when he walks in jammies or medical gown or whatever, beard, long hair. He walks into that posh Hong Kong hotel and he looks like he owns the place. That's
badass.
Of all four movies, that winds up being the scene that personifies what Pierce Brosnan should have been as James Bond.
Yeah, I agree. It's a great scene. I like that whole intro into him until he shaves, like that whole prisoner part of it. I really dug. It was really cool. That image of him walking into that hotel is pretty badass. Sorry, mothers.
Sorry about the Council of Mothers.
Council of Mothers
podcasts. Will whatever. Sorry.
So that's something you really do like. All right. So
that scene, just the fact that with just him walking into the hotel, that is the extent of it, pretty much.
And then the fact that they film him, much like they filmed him, James Bond and Tatiana making love in his hotel room.
Yes.
It just made the follow-up scene even better. So let's talk about Q and R's transition into Q, and they're showing all the gadgets, and they're poking fun at the past with all the gadgets, and which I think is an interesting look at James Bond history and moderate audiences at that point. They're like, well, all these gadgets are so silly and they're such old tech, and he's looking for new tech, and Die Another Day and Pierce Brosnan's movies they're so concerned about the newest tech and being very relevant to the point where they went to science fiction with it.
Oh yeah,
an invisible car.
Well, across the board. I mean, invisible car, the DNA manipulation.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean the whole ice castle, but not only that, but the whole like laser scene.
Yeah.
That
I could handle to some extent, because I could see that happening in a previous Bond film, like there's some satellite just reflecting light from the sun.
Oh, I'm talking about when Jinx is strapped and they have the spinny lasers and stuff.
Yeah,
like
sorry,
that
that laser scene, that was horrible. That was so bad. It's so bad, and the electric arm where he's like grabbing her breast, electrocuting her,
yes.
Like that type of stuff. And I mean, like the high tech surfing, like parasail surfing. Yeah, that just goes. Well, like the global warming, Anyway, they tried. It becomes a science fiction film at that point, and
Yes.
you
And
could argue.
they don't open up dimensions to portals to other dimensions and pull in the Sean Connery Bond of Earth 2. They don't do that. I mean, they're one step away.
That
from
would be
it.
amazing. That would be amazing if that happened in this film. That would be an automatic top tier film if they brought in Sean Connery from Earth 2. Yes, absolutely. So I think it's really interesting that they introduced this invisible car. As silly as it is, it's got. I think it's so bizarre that this film is so obsessed with sports cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from the very first scene in North Korea to the ice, to the sports cars in the plane, and there's sports cars everywhere. But they're in Iceland. They're at this ice palace. There's like no trucks to be seen. They're all sports cars. It's like the worst place to have sports cars.
Obvious product placement, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, as you watch this, did you spot anybody who would make a good player on your dodgeball team? Because you get to choose first this month.
Yeah, I do. I did see somebody that would be a great dodgeball addition to my team. And you're not going to like this, but I'm adding the Aston Martin Vanquish, the Vanish,
Wait,
car to my team.
what?
And
So who's driving this one?
just to make you happy, I'm replacing the Aston Martin DB5 and upgrading it
Oh,
to
I
the
see.
Aston
Okay.
V12 Vanquish. I mean, I'm going to have an Aston Martin with a cloaking device,
Right.
plus my stealth boat.
Yep.
I think this is a winner. This is a game changer at this point. As silly, as ridiculous as it is, I cannot pass up this car to be on my dodgeball team.
Your downfall will be when we have the outdoor Arctic games and we can watch your car make tire tracks in the snow.
That's true. That's true. Very true. I'll have to watch out for that. I might have to put like skis on the bottom or something, which I'm surprised they didn't throw in here. You're right. And apparently, if you shoot it once, just like Zhao did, the cloaking device like turns off.
Right. So one dodgeball hit, with just one lucky hit.
Yeah. Just one hit, but you got to hit it first.
You're right.
So, but think of it like this: my DB5 didn't have any cloaking device, and it was still a worthy foe. So now, just with the addition of a
so
cloaking,
you say. So
so so yes, my Aston Martin DB5 will now be replaced by the Vanquish, the Vanish.
Okay. So that's your choice.
That's my choice.
All right.
Did you see anybody
Yeah.
worthy of?
Yeah. I did. I saw a couple people, 3 people to be precise, and I've got to decide who it's going to be. For as much as I hated the scene that I referenced a few minutes ago, with the lasers and when Jinx is strapped into the machine and lasers are shooting around. I gotta tell you, I am super impressed with the dodging abilities of all 3 characters in that scene. Now, obviously, one person perished; the other 2 did not. So Pierce Brosnan's Bond and Jinx. Now, I really contemplated Jinx because she's strapped in and yet still never gets hit by the laser. So
It's amazing.
I contemplate like she is that her? Is that her being that good at dodging to where I ought to have her on the team? I don't really think it is her because she is still strapped in. She really has no control over it. I don't want to give her that credit.
You don't know if it's her, or if it's just luck.
Correct. And so I don't want to make that gamble and choose her, and really that's not the case. So I am going to finally someone is going to choose Pierce Brosnan for their team. I am choosing Pierce Brosnan Bond based on that laser scene alone.
That's a great choice.
And I figure that he has in his pocket the keys to the Aston Martin V12 Vanquish, so he can turn off the cloaking device at any time.
No. But I have Q. Q is the master of the car.
Yeah. But you don't have that Q. You don't have the John Cleese Q.
No, it's Q.
You don't have the John Cleese
If Q was a lot, no, it's Q.
But you don't have the John Cleese Q. And I contemplated that Q as well.
His character is Q in the film.
I understand that, but you have chosen the Robert
Are we changing
Llewellyn.
different actors?
No, I've chosen Timothy Dalton Bond. I've chosen Sean Connery Bond. I've chosen Sean Connery Bond again. I'm saying if you wanted to, or if I wanted to, I could choose the John Cleese Q. I could have chosen the Q Earth 2 Q from Never Say Never Again.
You're right. So you're saying the Desmond Llewellyn Q wouldn't be able to operate the...
he probably could. I'm just saying that, just to be specific, that Q that you have on your team is not the master of that car.
Oh, okay. You're right.
Of course I am.
You're an expert.
So Pierce Brosnan Bond is getting added to my team.
Who are you taking off?
And this is tough. We talked a little bit about taking Solitaire off last time, but I don't think I can. I think I'm going to...
You don't think you can?
I don't think I can. I don't think I can do that. I look at my team, and she's not the one that I want to cut.
That's the obvious choice. Okay.
I think I'm going to cut Jaws.
What?
Yeah.
Jaws?
I'm cutting Jaws.
Really?
You had your chance to get Jaws. You didn't choose him. Way back a long time.
Oh no, I didn't. Which movie did you choose him from? Moonraker?
It's the only Jaws movie we've covered.
That's true. Man, okay. All right, get rid of Jaws. That's okay. I mean, I passed on Jaws.
You did. You passed on
so
Jaws.
So I completely understand.
Yeah, so Jaws off the team. Solitaire is staying on. Okay, so it's probably no surprise that I find this movie is this is something I place in the bottom tier. This is, in fact, we talked about this with Moonraker. I was even saying, either Moonraker or Die Another Day would be in the bottom. The worst Bond film. It very well might be this movie. It is.
You put this at the bottom of your barrel.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Moonraker's pretty bad. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's bad in a different way, but yeah. Bottom. What about you?
Oh, it's in my scum bucket. It's in the bottom for sure. I think having seen it again just recently, I think I appreciate it more than I would usually give it credit for. I mean, I know it goes way crazy, but the first part of the film I think I can still enjoy. I think it's still decently shot. It's got I like Pierce Brosnan. I even think like the father son like side character development with like the villain, I think is interesting. Like they could have made that really cool if they hadn't gone like way wacko with like the DNA change and all that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It had some potential, but it's horrible. It's a horrible movie. It's in the bottom. Boat makeout scene. Well, let's talk about this ending, okay? Because I think this may be one of, if not the weirdest ending a James Bond film has. So he gets finished with the mission, and it's all hunky dory, and then we straight cut to Moneypenny fantasy, like virtual reality sex scene where Moneypenny and James Bond make out, which is another like throwback. Like we're pleasing Bond fans. Oh, they're finally gonna hook up. You know, it's been, you know, they're meant for each other.
Right.
And then it's you know, obvious, and then Q wakes her up, or not wakes her up, but snaps her out of it, and there's that joke. And then it just cuts to Jinx and Bond in some random hut with the diamonds. Of course, the lead into that scene is completely inappropriate. And
don't talk about it
and then
because the Council of Mothers might get upset.
yeah, and then there's no like MI6 calling Bond. There's no connection. There's always like a connection back to like M calling, or they find them or something. But there's none of that.
Right.
And then it just cuts to techno music, or a techno version of the theme song.
And then to think that this is it. This is how this Bond ends before the reboot.
Yeah, completely bizarre. So needless to say, there is no boat makeout scene to end this film.
Not in this one.
No, unfortunately. I think it could have helped. I think it could have helped the movie.
Oh yeah, it would have been at least something it had going for it.
A boat makeout scene always helps a Bond film.
Well, I think we've done it again. We've done it again. We've
Broke the internet.
We've gotten into a Bond movie and just tore it to pieces and reassembled it, and we're just
Nitty gritty of it.
nitty gritty everything. So that's Die Another Day.
So what are we going to be talking about next month, Carlin?
I think we should do A View to a Kill next.
All right, View to a Kill. That sounds great.
All right. Well, hopefully I'll have everything ready, and I'll show up at the recording on time. I don't know what's gonna happen between now and when we next meet. Hopefully I'll find somebody to kind of give me a hand.
I assume you're not going to be able to function.
I will have difficulty functioning, but I'll try and make it. I'll try and make it through.
All right. Good chat.
Yeah, it's great. As always, talking
All
to
right.
me.
Talk to you next month.
Okay.